The galaxy was dark and cold. Stars burned like distant candles, and planets floated alone in the vast emptiness. Among them, a civilization thrived. They were the Kreldar. Tall, sharp-eyed, and proud. Their ships cut through space like blades. Their minds were sharper than any human could imagine. They believed nothing could touch them. The Kreldar had worlds filled with fire and metal. Cities stretched into the clouds. Machines ran the oceans. Every corner of their empire hummed with control and order. They had conquered their enemies. They had destroyed planets. They were strong, smart, and untouchable. Or so they thought. Then the disaster came. It began with a signal. A small, blinking light from a distant system. At first, they ignored it. No one from the outer rim had ever mattered. Their advisors said it was nothing. Their spies saw nothing. But the light grew. Faster than expected. Strange pulses shook the sensors. The Kreldar watched in disbelief as their outer colonies began to vanish. Ships exploded in orbit. Cities burned without warning. Systems went dark. Panic spread like fire. The Kreldar tried to fight back. Their fleets launched. Their weapons roared across space. But it was too late. Entire worlds disappeared. Entire fleets vanished. The Kreldar could not understand it. Every tactic they had, every plan, every weapon, they failed. It was as if the universe itself had turned against them. Fear seeped into their hearts. They had never known fear. They had never felt helpless. But now they trembled. They watched as friends, families, and soldiers died. They saw their proud cities crumble. Their strongest warlords fell. The galaxy they had ruled for centuries was slipping away, piece by piece. Among the survivors, a single Kreldar commander floated in orbit above a shattered planet. His world had burned. His people were gone. Ash floated like snow in the cold vacuum. The silence screamed at him. He had always believed he was unstoppable. He had always believed no one could touch him. Now he was nothing. And yet, even as he stared into the black void, he saw something unusual. A tiny flicker of life. Small, unremarkable, fragile, insignificant. Humans. He had heard of them. A weak, primitive species from a blue planet. They had no fleets. No weapons. No chance. They could not matter in a galaxy like this. But the commander could not ignore it. The flicker grew. Signals he had never seen before danced across his scanners. Strange energy. Odd patterns. Human colonies, scattered and fragile, seemed to survive where even the Kreldars might have failed. He did not understand. Humans were not supposed to survive. They were weak. They were nothing. And yet, somehow they endured. Somehow, they were still there. A chill ran through the commander's body. For the first time, he felt a question that had no answer. Could something so small, so weak, change everything? Could these humans, who had never fought in wars like his, make the Kreldar bleed? He did not know. All he knew was pain, loss, fear, and a strange, unwelcome curiosity. Somewhere, far beyond the ruins of his world, humans moved quietly. They struggled. They suffered. They survived. They had no idea the galaxy was watching. They had no idea what was coming. The commander turned his gaze outward, scanning the stars. Somewhere in the distance, the flicker grew brighter. It was faint, almost invisible, but it was there. And for the first time in his life, the Kreldar knew something dangerous had awoken. The galaxy was about to change. And humans would be at the center of it. The humans were quiet. Small colonies on scattered blue and green worlds. From the galaxy's view, they were weak. Primitive. Easy to ignore. Their ships were tiny. Their weapons crude. Their minds simple. The Kreldar watched, certain that these humans would fall like all the others. They did not know fear, nor hesitation, nor doubt. Humans had no fleets to speak of. They had no defenses to challenge a cosmic empire. And yet, they survived. The first signs appeared in whispers. Human outposts that should have burned stayed alive. Tiny ships that should have been destroyed vanished into asteroid fields. Humans repaired what should have been impossible. They scavenged. They adapted. Every attack the aliens launched was met with a new strategy, unexpected and clever. It was not their technology that impressed the Kreldar. They could copy machines, even steal weapons. No. What startled the galaxy was the humans themselves. Their stubbornness. Their refusal to surrender. Their pain made them stronger. Every loss they suffered seemed to harden them, not break them. Entire colonies had fallen, yet humans kept moving. Refugees crawled across planets, building hidden settlements. Scientists and engineers worked in darkness to repair ships and build new tools. Soldiers who should have died in battle came back stronger, smarter, more dangerous. Their resilience was endless. The Kreldar commander studied them. He could not understand it. Every rule of warfare he knew failed with humans. They acted unpredictably, not like machines, not like logical minds, not like any species he had conquered before. Their actions were strange, bold, almost foolish. And yet, they worked. Humans did not fear death. That was the key. Where others froze, humans charged. Where others fled, humans held their ground. Where others cried for mercy, humans found hope in nothing. Pain became their weapon. Fear became fuel. Loss became strategy. The commander felt a creeping unease. He had seen civilizations rise and fall. He had studied countless species. And yet, humans, fragile, tiny humans, were doing something impossible. They were surviving. And not just surviving, they were learning. Every failure, every attack against them made them smarter, faster, stronger. The Kreldar began to notice patterns. Humans were unpredictable. They struck at unexpected times, in unexpected ways. They used their emotions, anger, grief, love, fear, not as weakness, but as power. Machines and weapons alone could not explain it. Only a mind that refused to give up could. And somewhere, deep in hidden human colonies, the survivors were whispering about the lost millions. They were talking about the dead, the destroyed, the pain they carried. But they were not broken. They were preparing, planning, waiting. They had no idea the galaxy was watching, no idea the Kreldar could feel fear. And they did not care. They would rise again. The commander's sensors picked up a subtle change. Something small, almost invisible, yet growing. Human colonies were coordinating in ways that should have been impossible. Strange pulses of energy, tiny fleets moving with uncanny precision, signals sent faster than thought. The Kreldar could not figure it out. Humans were weak. Humans were nothing. And yet, they were becoming a problem. A dangerous, unthinkable problem. The galaxy had laughed at them. The galaxy had ignored them. But something was shifting. Something in the humans was awakening. Something no alien had expected. The commander did not know what it was yet. But he knew one thing. The humans would not stay small forever. And when they finally moved, the Kreldar, and the rest of the galaxy, would see something they were not ready for. The galaxy had decided. The humans were insignificant, weak, a nuisance at best. And yet, the Kreldar, still trembling from the losses of their own worlds, wanted to finish the job. They would crush the humans completely. They would erase them. The attack came like fire. Fleets larger than entire solar systems surged toward Earth and its colonies. Warships bristling with weapons no human had ever seen blotted out stars. Planetary shields flickered, failing under the alien bombardment. Cities burned. Communications went dark. Refugees screamed as massive fleets tore through their worlds. 7 million humans perished in the first wave. Millions more fled across space, scattering to tiny, hidden colonies. Humans huddled in ruined cities and underground bunkers. They watched as loved ones died. Their leaders fell. Their ships were destroyed. Every loss cut deep, leaving scars no weapon could heal. Yet they did not stop. They did not surrender. Pain became a guide. Loss became fuel. Humans adapted in ways no alien expected. Ships were repaired using scraps. Makeshift weapons replaced those destroyed. Colonies moved from exposed worlds to hidden asteroids, to cloaked stations floating in empty space. Every attack taught them something new. Every death sharpened their resolve. The Kreldar laughed at first. They are nothing, they said. Weak bones and fragile minds. They unleashed horrors the humans had no defense for. But the humans learned quickly. They observed, they studied, they improvised. Small groups of fighters struck alien supply lines, sabotaged engines, and disappeared before the Kreldar could respond. The humans were unpredictable. Where the aliens expected despair, they found courage. Where the aliens expected retreat, they found resistance. Where the aliens expected submission, they found humans standing in ruined streets, refusing to leave, refusing to die. The galaxy watched, bewildered. Systems that had fallen to the Kreldar in days took months to conquer when humans were involved. Humans survived on nothing but sheer will and stubbornness. Their pain made them stronger. Their fear became invisible. Their losses became lessons, teaching them faster than any AI, faster than any machine. And yet, the cost was terrible. Humans watched families vanish in firestorms. Children disappeared in the vacuum of space. Entire fleets were burned to ash. 7 million dead. The number weighed on every living human like a mountain crushing their hearts. Still, no one surrendered. Not one soul. The Kreldar commander, watching from orbit above a human world, could not believe it. How, he whispered. How do they endure this? He had never seen such stubbornness. Such refusal to die. Such unbreakable will. It was madness. And it was dangerous. Humans began striking back in small, shocking ways. They set traps in orbit. They hacked alien communication channels. They moved faster than the Kreldar anticipated. Each counterattack was a whisper of fury, a shadow of vengeance. The galaxy had laughed at them. The galaxy had expected humans to crumble. But humans had only begun. And somewhere in the ruins of a burning colony, human leaders gathered quietly, planning something the Kreldar could never imagine. Something bigger. Something that would turn the pain, the loss, and the hatred into power. The Kreldar believed the humans were finished. They were wrong. The humans were learning. And the next strike would shock the galaxy. The Kreldar believed the humans were finished. They had counted the dead, watched their fleets burn, and studied their shattered cities. Every sign told them the humans would crumble. Every rule of war said this species could not fight back. They were wrong. Humans moved quietly at first. Small groups slipped past alien patrols, hidden among asteroids and debris fields. They scavenged what remained of their ruined fleets, repairing ships with ingenuity no machine could replicate. Where the Kreldar expected retreat, they found preparation. Where they expected despair, they found planning. The aliens laughed. Primitive machines, they said. Weak minds. They cannot even hold a planet, and they hope to strike us. But the humans had learned. They adapted in ways the Kreldar could not predict. Fleets that seemed destroyed reappeared, rebuilt from wreckage and scrap. Colonies thought lost sent out strange signals, confusing and misleading the aliens. Humans used emotion as a weapon. Grief made them careful, anger made them bold, fear made them clever. The Kreldar commander watched in disbelief. Entire fleets vanished into asteroid belts, only to reappear behind alien lines. Humans had no heavy weapons, no massive fleets, but they struck where it hurt most. Supply lines burned. Communication networks collapsed. The aliens had laughed at them, and now they began to worry. Humans were not just surviving. They were striking back. Small, precise attacks caused chaos in systems the Kreldar had thought secure. Every victory was a whisper of hope for the humans and a shockwave of fear for the aliens. Yet the cost was high. Every human victory was paid for in blood. Planets were rubble, cities were ash, millions of humans were dead. But for every life lost, the survivors learned. They adapted. They became smarter, faster, stronger. Their suffering was fuel, and their stubbornness was unbreakable. The Kreldar could not understand it. Every plan they made, every calculation, failed against humans. Humans were illogical, unpredictable, almost reckless, and that made them dangerous. No alien had ever faced a species like this. The humans did not fear death. They refused to surrender. Even as the Kreldar unleashed the most devastating weapons in the galaxy, humans found ways to survive, to hide, to strike back. They used their weaknesses as strength, their pain as a tool. The Kreldar commander felt it. A chill, a whisper of doubt. For the first time, he realized humans might not just survive. They might fight back. They might win. The thought was terrifying. From hidden stations, ruined cities, and shattered ships, humans coordinated in silence. The galaxy watched, still underestimating them, unaware of the storm that was forming. And then, a strange pulse appeared on the commander's sensors. Small, almost imperceptible, yet it was there. Humans had set a trap. Something the Kreldar could not see coming. The commander's sharp eyes widened. He had underestimated humans before. He would not make that mistake again. But it might already be too late. The humans were rising. And the next move would shock the galaxy. The galaxy held its breath. The Kreldar believed victory was theirs. They had destroyed millions, crushed fleets, and burned entire worlds. The humans were weak, fragile, finished. Yet, in the darkness of shattered colonies and hidden stations, Humanity had prepared. They struck first with what the aliens least expected. Not overwhelming firepower. Not massive fleets. Humans attacked with precision, cunning, and fearlessness. They targeted command ships, crippling the Krelthar's coordination. Supply lines exploded, leaving fleets stranded and weapons useless. Communication networks collapsed as humans hacked alien systems in ways no one had thought possible. Every strike was unexpected. Every move was unpredicted. The Krelthar laughed at first, assuming it was a minor disruption. But soon their laughter turned to disbelief. Ships vanished into asteroid fields and debris clouds, only to reappear behind enemy lines, striking where the Krelthar were weakest. Human ingenuity, stubbornness, and relentless became weapons more powerful than any laser or bomb. Pain had forged the humans into something terrifying. Loss had sharpened their minds. Fear had made them clever. Every dead comrade, every destroyed world had strengthened their resolve. The humans did not fear death. They embraced it as part of the battle, charging into hopeless fights and turning the impossible into victory. The Krelthar commander, watching from orbit, could feel it. The humans were no longer prey. They were hunters. A species that had once been mocked as weak, insignificant, and fragile now dominated the battlefield with a precision and fury that defied logic. Fleets that once trembled under Krelthar fire now struck like lightning. Human ships, repaired and rebuilt from ruins, tore through alien forces. Planetary defenses, once shattered, had become traps. Mines, ambushes, and covert strikes left entire alien squadrons burning in space. The tide turned, and the galaxy watched in awe. The Krelthar had thought they had crushed the humans. They had thought the humans were nothing. And now, their empire was burning, their fleets shattered, and their leaders trembling in fear. Humans did not stop. They pressed forward relentlessly, their strategy simple but deadly. Endure, adapt, strike, repeat. The aliens could not predict them, could not contain them, could not stop them. Every victory fueled the next. Every loss had been a lesson. Every human who fell had strengthened those who remained. And in the midst of the chaos, the Krelthar realized the truth they had refused to see. The humans' greatest weapon was not technology, not numbers, not fleets. It was themselves. Their courage, their pain, their stubborn refusal to surrender. The galaxy had underestimated them. The Krelthar had mocked them. But humans had turned every insult, every death, every defeat into power. And now, humanity was unstoppable. The commander's fleet was in chaos. Worlds once secure were lost. Communications and command lines destroyed. The humans, who had seemed weak, had become the nightmare of the galaxy. The humans were no longer surviving. They were winning. And the Krelthar, the galaxy's proudest and deadliest species, finally understood something terrifying. Humans did not surrender. They never would. The galaxy was silent. For centuries, the Krelthar had ruled with fear and power. They had believed nothing could challenge them. And yet, now, entire fleets lay in ruins. Worlds they had once claimed were abandoned or destroyed. Command lines burned. The humans, once mocked and overlooked, had rewritten the rules of war. Humans did not celebrate. They mourned the 7 million lost, the countless ships and colonies destroyed. Their pain was still raw, but it was no longer weakness. It was power. They rebuilt quietly, hidden among asteroids and ruined worlds, preparing for what the galaxy would bring next. Every survivor carried lessons, strategy, and the memory of the fallen. Humanity had learned, adapted, and struck back with a relentless fury no alien had expected. The Krelthar commander stared at the stars, trembling. He had underestimated humans. He had laughed at them. Now he understood. Humans were not just clever. They were unstoppable. Pain, loss, fear, they had all been turned into weapons. The galaxy had assumed humans were weak. They were wrong. Deadly wrong. Word spread across star systems. Humans, the species once deemed insignificant, had become a force no empire could ignore. Stories traveled faster than ships. Colonies whispered of strange tactics, impossible victories, and courage that defied reason. Aliens who had fought humans now feared them. Entire fleets hesitated when approaching human space. They had learned the truth. Humans never surrender. And yet, humans remained humble. They did not boast. They did not strike out of pride. Their strength was quiet, patient, and deadly. They waited. They planned. They endured. And the galaxy began to respect them and fear them in equal measure. Somewhere in the void, new colonies were being built. Ships were being repaired and upgraded. Humans were growing stronger, faster, smarter. They had faced annihilation and survived. They had suffered unimaginable losses and endured. And in every survivor's heart burned a single truth: humanity would never bow. The Krelthar fleet that had once been unstoppable now drifted in silence. They had lost not because of numbers or technology, but because they had never understood the humans. Now, across the galaxy, every species began to whisper the same warning: beware humanity. They endure what no one else can. They fight when all hope is lost. And they never surrender. But even as the galaxy feared, humans looked to the stars. Their journey was not finished. The wars, the pain, the losses, they were only the beginning. Something larger was coming, something no one yet understood. And somewhere, far beyond the edge of known space, a faint signal flickered. Human engineers, strategists, and survivors stared at it in silence. The galaxy had changed. Humans had changed. And the next chapter, no one, not even the Krelthar, would see coming. The universe had learned a lesson it would never forget. Humans were not weak. Humans were not insignificant. Humans were unstoppable. And this was only the beginning.